If you only buy Nvidia when it comes to AI, you're not really late, but you're missing out on so much of an opportunity. You're looking in the wrong place. Now, I get it, Nvidia is the brain, and it's the biggest name. But right now, AI demand isn't slowing down. It's actually accelerating. And I want to walk you through an ecosystem. I want to break down 3 layers to the AI stack that you can really understand how this goes. Now, data centers are being built at a pace that we've never seen before. Power demand is exploding, and the cost to run these systems is rising fast. But here's the part that nobody's really talking about, because NVIDIA is just one layer of the system. And if you don't understand that one layer, you miss the other layers and where the money is really flowing. In this video, I'm gonna break down how the first part of AI data center stack actually works, where the real bottlenecks are, where the money is flowing next, and where the companies are positioning for the next wave. So instead of chasing what already ran, you understand what's coming next. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share, because this video here gonna change how you see AI and how you can position yourself to make money. Let's go. Most investors are feeling the same way right now. They saw Nvidia run, they saw MU run, they saw SNDK run, and they saw the headlines, they saw the gains, and now they feel like they've missed it. Not to mention, I made $400 and some thousand a day right there. They missed it. They think they're late. The opportunity is gone. And that's not true. Here's what has happened. You didn't miss AI, you just misunderstood it. Because AI is more than 1 or 2 companies. It's an ecosystem, and ecosystems have layers. So let's go into this stack. I can really make this simple for you. So for every data center, it needs at least these first 3 layers. First is the compute layer, that's the brain. And then they need the infrastructure. Think about that as the body, and then they need the memory. So think about that as the fuel. And most people only look at the brain, but the money is not just in the brain. It's spread across the entire body, and that's what we want to get into. So the first level I want to break into is the compute layer. Now the compute layer is NVIDIA. It's the brain. We know that. They dominate all AI compute, and I'm explaining to you what compute is. But let's think about this. The GPUs train the models. The CPUs, they lock developers in, and then there's the NVIDIA link, which makes the waves go through. And then that isn't hardware, it's control. And when companies build on NVIDIA, they actually stay there. And then you have AMD, which is the alternative to NVIDIA, right? They don't really need to beat NVIDIA. They just need to take some of the share, which I don't think nobody can beat NVIDIA. So you have the M1 300 chips, and then you have the EPYC CPUs, and then you have the open ecosystem. So when companies want flexibility, well, they move here to AMD. Then you have Broadcom, which is AVGO. This is where most people get it wrong, because Broadcom doesn't actually compete with NVIDIA. They supply the system. So they have custom AI chips, they have network and silicon, and we'll get into that too. And then they have hyperscaler relationships. So they win, whether NVIDIA wins or not. So the compute layer is part of the data center that actually does the thinking. And I need you to understand, because you're like, yo, what the hell is compute? Well, I'm gonna break that down. It's where models are trained, and then data is processed, and then decisions are made, and then AI outputs are generated. And so when you use AI or ChatGPT or some image generator, the compute layer is doing the heavy lifting. They're doing the training. So they're teaching the AI by using massive data sets that require insane processing power. Then you have interface. That's the one that's answering all the questions in real time and generating the responses and the predictions. Then you have what's called parallel processing. Thousands of calculations happening at once across the GPU, right? And that's just the compute system. Here's the problem. Well, when you have the best chips in the world, if you can't deploy them, then you can't power them. And you probably can't cool them either. If you can't power them, you can't deploy them, and you can't cool them, then they don't matter. So now you need the infrastructure. That's where this comes in at. So the infrastructure part of AI, and we'll start off with Dell, because this is the bridge. And they take all this technology and they make it usable, because if not, it's just technology sitting somewhere. Well, they make the servers and the enterprise systems and the scaling solutions. So they don't build AI, they enable it. Yep, and it takes chips and it takes memory and it takes networking and it turns it into something that companies can actually use, because chips don't build data centers, systems do. And systems enable AI servers, and they integrate GPUs, interacts, and then they develop full systems for enterprise. So think about it like this. Nvidia sells the power, but Dell makes it usable. And then you have another company called Eaton, and now they in that place too, because they give you something that's critical, power. Because AI doesn't just run on chips. It runs on electricity and then power distribution, electrical systems, grid infrastructure, electricity, but not basic electricity. Massive, stable, uninterrupted power, because AI doesn't just run on code. Again, it needs electricity, and it distributes power across data center and protects centers from outages and manages loads at scale. And a single AI data center can use as much power as a small city. So without power, systems shut down and models stop running and companies lose money instantly. So AI demand is growing faster than the grid, and that's a massive bottleneck. And then we have Vertiv, VRT, right? This is a hidden bottleneck because this is about cooling. And as AI scales, these systems generate extreme heat, and then liquid cooling and thermal systems and high density racks all come into play. So without cooling, the system breaks. But let's talk about that for a second, right? So what is like thermal systems? Well, it's more like heat management, right? Because AI doesn't consume power, it creates heat. And that keeps GPUs from overheating, and it enables dense compute clusters and allows systems to run continuously, because the more power AI gets, the hotter it gets. And without cooling, systems throttle, performance drops, and hardware fails. So heat is one of the biggest hidden limits to AI scaling. So now that you understand that, you understand compute, and then you understand infrastructure. But there's another layer. And this one is kind of critical for us, because this controls speed. Now we're talking about memory and storage. Now we've seen SNDK run, we've seen MU run, but let's think about why they're so important. Because AI runs on data, and data has to be stored, called NAND flash or high speed storage. MU is critical because it has what's called DRAM, which is high bandwidth memory, or HBM. And so without memory, AI slows down. And then you have Western Digital, WDC. This is bulk storage. And this is massive data sets in what's called data lakes. And then you have Seagate, which is STX. Now, it's the same layer, but focused on scale. So you have high capacity drives and long-term storage. And so before AI learns, that data has to exist. And so AI doesn't just need to think. It needs to remember. And it needs places to store everything that it learns. That's memory, that's storage. Now here's the difference. Most people confuse the two. Most people don't realize that memory equals speed and storage equals scale. And so MU is DRAM and HBM, and memory is what AI uses to keep thinking. And memory is what AI uses to think fast. And without it, responses slow down and models start to lag and performance starts to drop, and now nobody uses it. So you can't have the fastest chips in the world, but can't access the data instantly. Now, AI models today are massive, and they process huge data sets that require real-time responses. So that means more DRAM and more high bandwidth memory, HBM, and faster access speeds. So AI speed is limited by memory speed. And storage, which is WDC, STX, and SNDK, storage where data lives long term. So before AI can think, it has to have somewhere to place its thoughts. So training data sets, user data, historical data, model outputs. This is massive scale. And so think about petabytes and exabytes. These are terms. AI doesn't run on small data, it runs on massive data. And so as AI grows, data explodes and storage then explodes, that demand for it. And this is why we're seeing memory and storage going crazy. So you have no training, no learning, no improvement, and no data means no AI. So think about it like this. Compute is the brain, memory is the short-term storage, and storage is long-term memory. And if one of those breaks, then the system slows down. So let's just think bigger for 1 second before we, So AI isn't just about intelligence, it's about access to data and the companies that control it. So you think about speed, that's memory, scale, which is storage, and control performance. So this is where the most investors go wrong, because they choose the obvious, which is the brain, the chips, the headline, and the hype. But the real leverage is in the system behind it. So AI doesn't just need to think, y'all. It needs to perform. It needs to remember. And it needs somewhere to store it. So if you can focus on those 3 layers that I talked about, I'm gonna create another video on the next 6 layers. It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share this with somebody. Salute.